Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Feels like a Tuesday. Tuesday feels like a Monday after holiday Monday, which maybe wasn't a holiday for some, but holidays for others. Confusing day it is today. But I tell you what, it is day one of two when we have 3 Game 7's. That's right. 5 of the series are over in the NHL. We have 3 left. 3 Game 7's left. And we got some big ones, boys. Before we get into the Game 7's, I want to talk a little bit about something I forgot on my last DWG, the special edition, weekend edition. And a weekend edition that maybe was a little bit too long for some of the guys that didn't have enough time. So I'll be reminded to keep it down in the old 10 to 15 minute range. So let's get right into the Stevie Y signing as the GM. And first of all, congratulations to Shawzy. You got your guy. He's back. He's going to be wearing the C on the collar now. C on the white collar of his dress shirt. Little tiny C right there. That's where the C is for this season. I don't think it's any surprise that Steve Yzerman is the GM. I think not only from the moment that he resigned, which was a little shocking to some, if nobody thinks that Ken Holland and Steve Yzerman had a pop or a lemonade last summer in the off season, and Kenny basically said, this is probably going to be my last year as a GM, wink wink nudge nudge. This has been in the works for about a year, not 3 months, not since he put his resignation as the GM of Tampa Bay. This has literally been in the works for almost a full year, and maybe even more. But more than likely, it happened last summer. So it's not a surprise. Everyone expected him to come back to Detroit. That's his home. It's fine. It's great for Detroit. However, I will remind everybody that Steve Yzerman has been the GM of Tampa Bay for 9 years, and Tampa Bay, last time I checked, didn't win a single Stanley Cup. He also didn't draft Steve Stamkos. He also didn't draft Victor Hedman. Now, he did re-sign Steve Stamkos, and he did draft Nikita Kucherov in the second round in 2011. And he drafted a lot of other good players like Vasilevsky, the second pick in their first round of 1 year, and certainly Braden Point, and they got some good guys coming up like Boris Kachuk and Taylor Radish. But but for all those people that think that Tampa is stacked and they're going to go far, they've been to 1 Stanley Cup final in 9 years. They've been to a few Eastern Conference finals, but no cups. So if you're expecting Detroit to make the Stanley Cup final in the next 3 years, I got news for you. It ain't happening. Not only is Detroit, Detroit's got some good pieces there, but there's some things that Detroit doesn't have that Tampa did when it came to recruiting for Stevie Y. 1, state tax. 2, it's Detroit. And no offense to Detroit, we've had a great time there in the past. I love Detroit, but it's not Tampa Bay. It's not Tampa Bay in January. And I guess the biggest thing right now is Stevie Y has about a 3-year pilot project to build this team. The unfortunate part about this whole situation is Detroit is in the Atlantic Division. And if we look at the Atlantic Division today, and we look at the Atlantic Division in September, it's only going to be that much tougher. You've got Tampa, obviously, and then you've also got Boston, you've got Toronto, you've got Montreal. We're expecting Florida to make a big push here for some UFAs, and they've already got Coach Q. So there's 5 teams right there. And when you're looking at when you're looking at teams in the Atlantic, there's only 3 spots available in the format that is current right now, and then 2 wild cards. So a maximum of 5 spots that any division can hold if they take both wild card spots. So if you're the 6th team, you got some work to do. Now that format could change by the time Detroit gets better, but a lot of those teams are still on the upswing. They're not on the downswing, unlike the Metro, where the Washington Capitals and the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Rangers, who have already fallen, a lot of those teams are on the downswing. So you're seeing a shift in power. The Atlantic is going to be the best division in hockey for the next 2 or 3 years here. So that's interesting. But anyways, congratulations to Stevie Y. He's back home, got the C on the dress shirt, and to Shazi, who's got a little bit of hope now. Another thing I want to talk about before we get into sports, in terms of Game 7's, I want to talk a little bit about this, the political decision, and certainly the way society is. I've chimed in on it before, but the Philadelphia Flyers had to make a decision to stop playing Kate Smith's "God Bless America," and the reason for that is Kate Smith, who died 33 years ago, used to sing and be a good luck charm for the Flyers in the 70s when they went on their 33 game unbeaten streak. And when the Flyers play "God Bless America" or a rendition with their current anthemist Lauren Hart, and they don't play it often, the Flyers are actually 101, 33, and 5, which is an incredible stat considering it's a superstition. And the reason why they took it down and they took the statue of her outside of Wells Fargo out was because some douchebag was looking to be offended and took offense to some songs that she sang. She didn't write these songs. She sang them in the 1930s, in the fucking 1930s, that had some racially charged words that weren't okay then, aren't okay now, but given the context of the era, it was the 1930s. Get a life. Are you kidding me? Now, I understand the Flyers are in a no-win situation here. They had to take the statue down, and they can't play her, especially considering the New York Yankees were playing her song as well. Kate Smith's song has nothing to do with "God Bless America." This has everything to do with 2 things: people getting fucking butthurt over shit that happened 100 years ago, and Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the reason why everyone is so racially charged right now. The guy's a piece of shit, and we're living in a world now that we have to do this. And let me tell you this: it's "God Bless America," Kate Smith, and yes, they're gonna play "God Bless America" as a good luck charm down the road. It'll be Lauren Hart, and they need to move on, and I'm fine with all that. I'm not so attached. I've been lucky enough to hear it in the building in a playoff game. It was incredible, incredibly powerful and moving. It was amazing. But if you think it's going to stop here, think again, because in the next 5 to 10 years, you're not going to hear "We Will Rock You." We will not hear "We Are the Champions," because Queen has come out with songs that are racially charged. Queen has songs that are not so much homophobic, but certainly on the lines of those. If you look at some of the Guns N' Roses songs over the years, some of those are also very controversial. So if you don't want to hear "Welcome to the Jungle," well, guess what? We're moving in that direction, and it's a fucking shame. It is. It's an absolute shame that people have to get offended by all this. It happened in the 1930s, and I'm really, really sorry for those people that feel so offended by something that happened 100 years ago. I'm not saying that it's okay, because it isn't. And I understand that at that time it was deeply offensive, and it's still deeply offensive now. But there's a wide known fact that Kate Smith wasn't racist, and she wouldn't have been considered racist at that time. So I just think it's crying shame. In terms of tonight, Game 7's, I expect the Vegas Golden Knights to win. I think they're a better team than San Jose. I'd be shocked if San Jose won. The Boston-Toronto series was going to go 7. We always knew it was going to go 7. Boston's going to win that series because it's at home, and Boston played their best game the other night. Boston played exactly the way I've seen Boston play all year. And it's a shame because the Leafs can't put it together, but they're going to win. The only chance that Toronto has is if they don't play Jake Gardiner in the third period. And I think either Cassidy is going to outcoach Babcock, or Babcock's probably going to outcoach Babcock, which I think is probably more than likely going to happen. So another year of shame for the Leafs, and the Raptors hopefully can close out tonight as well. And then tomorrow night, I expect the Caps to put a waxing. It's a homer series. I expect them to put a waxing on Carolina, even though Mr. Game 7 is in the game. His last Game 7, actually, I don't think he scored a point, and Washington is the better team. Guelph Storm win last night against Saginaw. They're down 2-1. Game 4 goes tomorrow night in the Western Final in the OHL. In the Eastern Final, the Ottawa 67s can close out and sweep their third series in a row, go 12-0, a perfect 12-0 in the playoffs tomorrow night in Oshawa. And wouldn't that be something going into the final with a perfect record? Condolences to the London Knights and the Thompson family. One of the former players of the Memorial Cup winning 2005 team tragically lost a player on the weekend. Death is unknown, but it looked like he had some heart conditions. So, thoughts and prayers there to a kid who was 34, had coached the London Nationals to a Sutherland Cup a few years back. And it's always tough to see young guys in the hockey world that go. So that's all I got for today. Working on this mustache here. Some people take a look there. It's pretty thick. It's bristly. Some people cut their hair locks for love. I know GY's done that in the past. I just shave this off and I sell it to Home Hardware, the barbecue brush. Helps. It's barbecue season, so that's why I gotta get it growing here for all those guys that forget their barbecue brushes or need one. Need a good ginger brush. So that's all I got for today, boys. Let's have a good one. Here we go, Game 7's.